motion. Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
Back with another episode of
And that's why Cody tries to do back at it again 3 times before we ever actually get started. Not so easy, Thad. Not so easy.
Oh, I know. That's why I don't claim to be any professional at this shit, man.
All right, Robert, you're up. Lay it on us.
Oh my
Welcome,
gosh.
ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Shades of Blue. Tonight, we will tackle Sporting Kansas City's victory over Toronto FC and the Kansas City Curd keeping hot.
I like Thad's is very NPR. Robert's is very like nighttime news.
Oh yeah, you're just different hours of the day, but yes, you're giving off professionalism both ways. Except for Thad. You didn't hear, no, our listeners didn't hear what he did before we started. That gave me the confidence to let him start the show. And then when
Shall we let him try again?
No.
No, another episode. He missed his chance.
I blew it. I don't deserve it. That's okay.
I tried to phase out back at it again at one point, if you guys remember that, and people started asking me for it again, so I'll give it to them again. Back at it again with another episode of the Shades of Blue Soccer Show. We are the KC Soccer Journal. My name is Cody Bradley. Thad Bell, Robert Russert, and David Greenwald are here. Midweek episode because it was Sunday, was a holiday, and nobody wanted to work. It was just going to be me doing it on my own.
I was going to be there.
Yeah, everyone has like loving families and all that. My family left town, so I'm house sitting my parents' home right now while they're all celebrating together in New York. But I hope you all had
Cody taking the pity angle, yeah.
I hope you all had fun Sundays. And I like a midweek episode. There's a lot we can update things now. We had training today, so we get to see who is training, what's going on. So this is going to be filled with a lot of information that we can offer our listeners, right, Thad?
That is correct.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Thad, I bet you don't have the courage to do that all episode long.
Hey, that's 3 words. Come
I
on.
hope not.
That's good. He's on a roll.
Don't challenge me, David. I will do almost anything for an hour.
He is that stubborn, so for real, don't challenge him like that. But it was a massive game for Jake Davis, Thad.
It was Jake from downtown
Oh,
Davis.
God. Oh no.
Oh my god.
You asked for this. You will continue to get it.
Okay. Well, yes, big game for Jake. He was FootMob's man of the match, 8.7 rating, goal and an assist. Got his first goal, a banger from 30 plus yards. About, I think, I always just say anything out there is 30 yards, but this one I think was a true 30-yarder. And it's funny because a couple weeks ago on this show, we were talking about Jake, and we said, Thad and I were talking about how he doesn't have that Zusi aspect in his game where he could just whip out a banger, and then he did it. He heard the show and proved us wrong.
I'm not sure if he proved us wrong,
God.
but just proved that there is an exception to every rule.
Okay, I'm not calling on him anymore. Robert, talk about Jake for me.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about his touch, first touch on the ball. It was exquisite, perfect, so he could just stride into it. And he put it in a place that obviously is difficult to save. We can talk more about that later. But yeah, Jake, wonderful game from him. And he has some good attacking plays before that too as well. So
That first touch that you mentioned, it looked like he was planning on that. Like it didn't just dawn on him and he took a wild shot. It was almost like as the ball was coming to him, he was already seeing this develop, and that was a very purposeful first touch, and the wheels were turning in his head already.
well, you said 30 yards. Do you think he had an acre or 2 or 3 of space there?
Yeah, nobody was around him. There was a lot of suspect defending, especially on the Vargas goal. We can talk more about that later, but I do want to give Jake all of his love. You mentioned some of the plays earlier on in the game. He should have had an assist, David. There was a beautiful ball that's put Tim Leibold in on goal, and he couldn't finish it. But
Only one of our fullbacks is allowed to score in any given game.
okay,
This isn't total football. There only one guy can score per game.
yes, that makes sense.
Does that hold true when Logan comes back?
I reserve the right to change my mind when Logan comes back.
Logan's planning on scoring some goals this year when he's told me when he comes back. So we'll see.
No, it's been awesome to see Jake continue to develop. You see him take these big steps almost like per game, right? Like his very first game playing right back, like he was fine. He was kind of like surprisingly decent, but his defensive positioning continues to improve. And now seeing him like work on his offensive game this year, working on combining with other players, 1-2s, when to make an overlap, when to make an underlap, and now seeing him be able to kind of rifle a shot from distance, a Zusi-esque shot has been really cool to see.
Yeah, I think it's the confidence is really building, and I think that's where that goal comes from. That's where the quick pass on that ball to Leibold comes from. And yeah, man, it's just going to be really exciting to see him now that he's no longer learning the position, but he's learning how to fine tune things and where he's better, where he needs to work on. And he's just going to keep getting better. This is very exciting.
Now, I have a theory. If everybody goes to our site, kansascitysoccerjournal.com, you'll read an article that was written by Stacy about how the April Fool's Day prank on Jake came together. And actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was filmed a few days before this game. Do you think Jake was playing angry? Like he knows that what's coming, and he's like, people are gonna see this Daniel Shallowy prank, and so I gotta redeem myself and just have a worldie of a game.
That tracks. I think this makes a lot of sense because they would have shown the team before that game too. Like the video we saw of them seeing it, I bet that might have been before the game too. So yeah, he had to get all amped up for this. What about Alenis Vargas? I'm afraid to call on Thad, so I'm going to Robert. Robert Vargas, we talked about him before the season. He had a good shift this game, a lot of minutes, the most we've seen him come on yet, and did really well. Got his first goal. I have questions about the defending on the goal. He just kind of did the good old high school move, just kick it and run past the guy. And
when you have that in your bag, it's hard to defend, right? I mean, that's going to be his go-to.
Well, and it's not supposed to work at this level, right? Like
exactly.
Normally, like you see some young guys come in and they try that, and it's like, oh wow, yeah, that doesn't work anymore. But and it's not to entirely dismiss it either. He showed all of his speed, and he showed a lot of strength, and then the composure to finish the goal as well. So it was really well taken, and I don't mean to diminish it, but if you go watch that highlight, watch the defender. I don't know what he's doing. His arms are out for some reason, like he's like calling someone safe at first. I have no idea what was going on there, but great goal.
Well, and he tried to foul Vargas, and just like threw his hands up in the air and was like, I don't even know what to do with that. Sorry, Robert.
Oh, you're fine. And then afterwards, he made a point to run over to Kerry Zavagnin. I don't know what that's all about. I'd like to find out, but that was a pretty cool moment as well.
I have that note on here. I was going to ask Thad that if he maybe had an answer about why he ran straight to KZ.
I do.
Oh,
I actually asked Vargas that today. First of all, I asked him about his game, and he said that is very much his game. That is what he do. That's what he does. He runs.
That's what he do.
That's what he
hey,
do.
Thad, I bet you won't talk normal for the rest of the episode.
That sounds like KZ. And this is annoying because I told you before you started doing this voice that you sounded really good. Like he was projecting. I could hear. I thought his mic was new or something. He sounded really good, and now we've tormented him into doing this voice the whole time.
But I asked him if that was his game, and he said that is what he does. That's what he's good at. Peter actually said today that when the first time they brought him in down in Houston, the team didn't play him the right way because they didn't recognize his strengths when they should have been able to do that and utilized him better. But when I asked Vargas about running to Kerry, he said that Kerry had told him that he should come over and hug him when he scores his first goal. So at first he started to celebrate with his teammates, but then he realized, no, I have to run to Kerry. So he ran to Kerry, and he gave Kerry a hug.
I think he's phasing out.
Thad, if you ever read books, audio books, you will put me to sleep as I'm driving, and you will kill me.
No, actually, it's growing on me. That got better. I think he was slowly phasing it out. There was a little more normal Thad in that.
You will have to vote for me to stop this voice for this episode.
Okay, what else are we missing from this game?
Oh, I believe, I didn't get to see the match live, so I watched it when I returned Sunday night. And I tell you what, Willie Agata and Daniel Shalaway had their best games of the season by far. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that Willie was playing the number 9. He was able to play deep, play with his back to the defenders and draw those defenders and lay balls off. And I was very impressed with those two.
I would agree it was Willie's best game of the season. I don't know if it was that amazing, but yeah, he played a lot better. He had a really good header on a corner kick that was like the most athletic header I've seen a player on this team make in 5 years probably. So yeah, I know we've talked about that with Willie. He's kind of just a volume guy. Like he needs to be out on the field and he needs chances, and I think if he gets in a groove, things will start working. But Thad, what'd you think of Agata in a normal voice?
I'm allowed to use a normal voice?
Yes, please.
Please.
Okay, I'm back.
Listen, there he is.
No, I thought he was good. He had the best chances of so far of this year, I think, or some of the best chances. He had the highest XG for the team. I talked to him today also, and he talked about how he actually kind of wished Polito was out there because he works better off of when there's two of them out there like that, because, Polito will attract attention. It'll open up spaces and he'll have more opportunities. But I thought it was one of his best games.
But let's think about this, guys. I mean, this was a pretty dominant attacking performance, right? Yes. Yeah. Second highest XG, most shots on goal of the season. And it was without Johnny Russell, Alan Polito, Logan Ndenbe, and Andre Ofontes. So that it's by itself is pretty impressive.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Go ahead, David.
What do you have for XG?
1.56, which is the second most on the season.
Yeah, he's right.
Oh,
it is.
Okay. Well,
which isn't saying much.
We've talked about XG before. Everybody calculates it differently.
Yeah.
FB Ref has it at 1.2 because, a lot of our shots are outside the box. Remy had a low XG goal. Jake had a low XG goal.
A lot of the shots are outside the box. If you look at the shot map on any of those, Foot Mob has a good one. A lot of them were outside the box. Like, it's kind of crazy how many of them were way out.
53%, yeah.
But no, Robert, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm actually not getting too excited or too high after this game. And it's kind of because of that David just brought up there. A lot of the shots were outside of the box. A lot of them were low quality. The 2 goals we had, the bangers that they were, are clearly lucky. There's some luck to those goals because people do them all the time, and people who are not that great at soccer have been able to score those. So they're low XG for a reason. Those kind of things don't happen very often. So 2 of those goals.
Pardon me, Cody. Can we bring Roger Espinoza in for this discussion?
Yes. See Roger Espinoza for shots that don't go anywhere near when they're that far out. But no, I mean, they were missing Lorenzo Insigne. We had these kind of lucky goals. We gave one up there at the end, and it was good that we won. I think this team has gotten unlucky several times this year, and I'm not calling this a lucky win. This doesn't show me that we are, one of the top teams in the league. Toronto is much better this year after finishing last year, but I think it was very fortunate that they were missing their best player, and that kind of derailed everything that they were trying to do, Thad.
That derailed their offense, but their defense had been pretty good. They'd only given up a couple goals. They'd had shutouts at home. So, I mean, they had... Sorry. Robert made a signal, sorry.
Yeah, they had 4 shutouts in their first 5 matches.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the 2 home games had been shutouts. So I think they only lost the 1 game on the road at New York, if I remember correctly. I think that was a 2-1 loss maybe. So they hadn't scored a ton of goals, and with Insigne out, that's obviously hurting their offense. But their defense had been strong, even though they were missing some people. Most of those had been missing when they were still getting shutouts. So it was still a good performance in that regard. But Sporting didn't dominate as much as they took their chances, and they won that, and which is a good road win. It's exactly what they need to do. That could have easily been a draw, and we would have still been happy with it.
I mean, that's the other thing, right? It's a road win.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. It is.
Kind of makes up for the LA loss.
Kind of. Maybe not entirely.
Yeah, kind of.
But that does bring
Kind of.
Sporting.
Yeah, one trend that in the last couple of games that I'm really liking is fouls. We have outfouled the other team in the last 3 or 4 games, which shows we're getting more aggressive, which we've needed to be consistently. So I'm liking that edge. Willie Agata twice gave a shoulder charge into his defender before the ball arrived, which I really liked to see him doing that to gain position. So those little things are starting to come around too.
The win puts them in 6th place with 9 points. And a crazy stat from that is this is the first time that Sporting Kansas City has been ahead of St. Louis in the table ever. In the 1.25 of a year that they've been in existence.
And they're also significantly above Seattle. Darn.
Man, how crazy is that about Seattle? Last place.
Well, they got 2 points, 3 maybe.
2 points.
2 points from the first 5 games. I know that's like a thing with them that they're often poor at the beginning and then come on strong, but man, that's really bad. Thad, if I asked you what the all-time record in MLS is for Sporting Kansas City against the Timbers, what would you guess?
50-50.
Did you see this already?
That's not an option. You know that there's 3 possible outcomes in a match, right?
No, but it could. That's a great point, David. But he could not have been more right, even though he didn't consider that. It is. I'm assuming this is regular or just MLS. I'm not counting Open Cup and the rest, but 9 wins for Sporting KC, 9 wins for the Portland Timbers, and 8 draws. So it is literally as close to 50-50 as it could possibly be.
Not taking into account which ones were home wins or road wins, but yeah, we've been really evenly matched with Portland over the years. Sometimes they're better, sometimes we are.
I've kind of always had the feeling that they dominate us. Is why I thought maybe I was going to stump you with that question.
Yeah, you're thinking about those playoff losses.
I
Yeah.
know it is. It was the banger from what's his name that eliminated them after one of their best seasons in recent memory. Blancos, yes, that's right.
And then the double doink.
The double
Right.
don't. My God, yeah. See, those games carry weight.
Cody, do you remember who hit the double doink? Which player struck the ball?
Saad Abdul Salam.
Excellent. Way to go.
Heck yeah, man.
Do you remember who finished the game in goal for us?
Kimpin.
That would have been my guess. Is that right?
Nobody asked you, Thad.
No, yeah, that would have been my guess just because
I
Our
hear
radio
he's a
announcer.
color commentator or something now. Yeah.
he is.
Some radio guy.
Portland is behind Sporting Kansas City on the table. They're in 8th place with 7 points. They are currently in a 3-game losing streak. They've lost to Houston, Philadelphia, and last week to Vancouver. But they have 11 goals. They've conceded 11. But David, their entire attacking core is dangerous. There's a lot of goals spread around a lot of players on that team.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a new Brazilian winger, Anthony, who is their main attacking threat. It's going to be on Leibold and Jake to shut him down. They've got Evander, who's a DP, record signing central midfielder who kind of got off to a rough start last year. He's playing a little better this year.
Yeah, he's great.
But as good as their goal numbers look, they scored 4 goals in the home opener against Colorado. So, a third of their goals came in 1 game.
Okay, that's a fair point. I'm glad you found that.
Do we have an update, Thad, on what's happening with Pulido? Is he going to be back, or do we get Willie starting another game?
In training today, Pulido, Fontes, everybody was in training today except for Johnny and Logan Ndembe, of course.
Johnny's not even training at all. Wasn't even running on the side.
No, he was like kind of sadly kicking a ball around every once in a while, but it was cold. So maybe that's why.
Sometimes they don't put those guys into training till later in the week. So
Yeah, I think that's I think Peter will still be waiting to see if they can get him into training later this week. But I would say if he's not trained for a while now and he's not training today, there's a reasonably good chance he's not going to be available for this weekend, or at least not a starter for sure.
Right.
But Fontas and Polito both training. I think they actually both trained at the end of last week, but just didn't travel because they didn't want to, take the risk.
It's a long season.
So Fonte is coming back. That's good to hear. What did you guys think of Volader last weekend?
I thought he's good. I mean, there's nothing that we can really point at and say, oh, he really screwed up there. He's playing better attacking out of the back as well. And, that's all you can ask of a replacement left center back, right?
Yeah, I thought he had a good game. It was better than the first game that he played.
So do we want to see Agata and Polito on the field together again? Is that what we all wanting to see how that work out, see how it can develop?
Well, that's a good question that you're asking that. I checked in on the kcsoccerjournal.com predict the lineup. We should really call that pick the lineup, shouldn't we? This should be pick the lineup, because predicting, I would like to see what people want as opposed to what they think Peter is going to do. But I think
You're right, Cody.
I do think people often do that. And right now, Willie Agata is winning with 89.7% to Polito's 12.8%. I don't know if that is people, again, see, this is where the gray area is. Is it, are they predicting that Polito is not going to be available, or are we choosing Agata over Polito?
Make that change, Cody. Make that change.
Okay, I'm going to talk to Ben. Ben's the one that posts those. David, you're not picking Willie Agata over Polito yet, are you?
I want the two of them on the field together. Except for obviously the 10-minute meltdown against LA.
Yeah.
The 4-2-3-1 was really effective. And it did a good job of clogging the midfield. And I think that's going to be key against Portland if we were to play with a double pivot, if we were to put Remy and Nemanja back there, it would help bottle Evander. It would clog the middle of the pitch, funnel everything out wide. It would also make it a lot harder for Anthony to cut in and be dangerous, cutting in towards the middle of the box. If we can funnel everything out wide, it's a lot easier to defend. So I would actually like to see a little bit more stability through the spine of the midfield like that. And Polito looked great playing as the 10, or, almost as like a hybrid between a 10 and a second striker. I think that fit, him and Willie really well.
I don't know if I would say great. I'm not saying he had a bad game, but I think great is just false. Like, how can a striker have a great game if they didn't even score a goal? Like, if you're a striker, you gotta score a goal to be quote unquote great in a game. It was a fine game, and I think that they could improve.
Playing striker, then the expectations are different.
Okay, fair point, but he is a striker, and I don't think there was anything necessarily great about what he did in that game. I think it was fine, and I think that they could both improve as they get used to playing together, because that was really just the first time. Thad, are you trying to see more of that?
I would like to. I don't know if for a whole game, but I mean, I would love it at least for a half, man. Bring Willie off the bench fresh and change up the formation a little bit, especially if you already have a goal lead. It's a little more defensive, but still a really nice attacking option in there.
Yeah, he could fill that role. Remember the days where Dom Dwyer would come off the bench and it was just like it would make everyone would just lose their minds. He would just play differently, and I think that that's a good dynamic. And also, yes, I do think after a team has spent however long preparing for Vermees's 4-3-3, if in the 65th minute or the 75th minute they bring on Agata and are doing this entirely different formation, I think that could have that same effect, Robert.
Well, I think, like David was saying, it depends on the construct. Are we going to do what we did against the Galaxy? Then, playing with Polito and Agata like that, is a good way to go. But if we're going to play a more traditional 4-3-3, Willie is in such a groove right now. He's getting minutes. He's feeling it. He had 6 aerial wins in that game against Toronto. Polito's had 2 all year. And you need your striker to be strong in the air, be good hold-up play, which Willie was. So I would tend to say opposite of what Thad said is I'd like to see Agata start if we're doing the traditional 4-3-3 and have Polito come on later, maybe with him in conjunction for that look.
Wow, listen to Robert benching the most expensive player in club history.
Well, in this moment in time, yeah.
Giving his hamstring a chance to rest.
Okay,
There you go.
Pep Guardiola, tinkering with the lineup like Pep Guardiola he is.
Well, I mean, Claudio Bielsa was a DP who lost his job to Dom Dwyer. So
Yeah,
It happens.
It's definitely
It's MLS.
we definitely know Vermees, probably more so than other coaches, is not afraid of doing that. But I mean, I haven't seen enough from Willie necessarily that it's like, oh yeah, we have to have him on the field over Polito. But it's an interesting idea there, Robert, for facing.
Oh, they're definitely different players, the way they play
Very.
the game.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
different.
absolutely. All right,
that's
final-
good though. I think. Sorry, let me just cook a little bit. But it's good to have different players. One of the issues I think we see so often with a Sporting KC bench is that you're down a goal or it's level and you're trying to find a game winner, a match winner. Then you look at the bench, you're like, who do we have to bring in, right? Like what game-changing player do we have to make a difference in a game? And so being able to make something other than a like-for-like swap is a good thing. Being able to bring in Elenis Vargas, who's insanely fast, is good. Being able to look at the bench and saying, like, okay, I can bring in Willie Agata and Elenis Vargas or even Steven Afrifa, and they offer something different than what Daniel and Johnny and Polito offer. That's a good thing.
And yeah, I mean, Rodriguez, he's been solid in the midfield, if unspectacular, but he's got some abilities, got some skills on the ball. And then, like you were saying, David, we played this match in Toronto, brought Vargas off the bench, who was effective, again, without Russell, Polito, Fontes, and Denbe. Wait till they're all back, if that ever happens.
Memo is low-key a really good fit for this team. I think he's perfect he was a perfect signing for what they've needed.
And a lot of people made fun of that as just taking some guy off the scrap heap signing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, they.
Well, he's not going to be the guy that's going to get us deep into the playoffs, though. That guy's hopefully coming, but yeah, he's good for now.
Yeah. The team really likes him, and it's just specifically like a mentality thing. The way he fits in, the way he can play multiple positions, and understands the system and all of that. The team and the staff and everybody's pretty excited for him this year.
And I know Sporting always wants to win at home, that to get those points, but right now it's really key because the next 3 games are at home. This is a chance to get a little separation, maybe, show that you're playing good, get the confidence, and get the home crowd behind you, get those wins at home. It's kind
And
of
who
key.
are those 3, Thad?
Oh, wait, one of those actually isn't at home, is it?
Well, no,
Portland?
I'm just saying, who are those 3 games against?
Oh, Portland, Miami, and St. Louis.
Exactly.
The referee lockout ended. Did we notice a difference? If we just didn't notice anything, I think that's the difference, right? There was no big.
Did you see that moment where Jake Davis put his hands to his head over on the sideline, and Rosero was over there, and they called the foul on us or something? He's like, just walked away, like, I can't believe what I just saw.
That's normal, though. I mean, referees get that stuff wrong all the time, man.
Yeah.
One of the advantages or disadvantages of me being down on the field and shooting is I often see where the ball's at, and referees getting that call very wrong sometimes, and it goes both ways. It's just a lot of times they're just going off of kind of intuition of which way it went. So that's normal. Good refs, bad refs, they all screw that one up.
I saw less confusion at out of bounds. I saw more confident calls on which way the ball went out of bounds, and they knew how to do VAR, and there were no mistakes like that led to that indirect free kick where it's like these referees just aren't in the flow of the game or not experienced enough, and there are just these weird little things that happen. And thankfully that was a little thing. I'm still bothered by that, if you can't tell. Thad, you got mad at me in that episode for just saying why didn't we get an apology for this? And you're like, well, nothing happened. And I'm sorry, I don't care. It's the principle of the thing. That was one of the most egregious of the replacement referee errors, in my opinion.
I'm pretty confident that Sporting hears some sorries that we don't hear about. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm very sure that they do. And it probably doesn't ever get to the level of anybody to even be able to tell us. So I'm pretty sure they do. But there's been some really bad ones.
Robert,
I thought Guido Gonzalez sucked. I thought he was terrible. But I'm also still cranky about the missed handball last year. So he, for all I care, could go back to the picket line or the lockout line or whatever you want to call it. That guy sucks.
I did wonder if that was on purpose, giving Sporting the same ref as the last time that the pro referees were reffing a game.
Yeah.
I was like, is that just like flipping the finger at Sporting? Is that maybe, hey, he's gonna give us 2 penalties to easily win the game? But no, he didn't do that either. So why? Why did they do that?
Strange coincidence, I guess. Just a cruel coincidence, I will call that.
Oh, eBay.
Robert, have you set up your fantasy team yet?
Cody, no, I have not.
Okay,
It's
well,
on
you
the
do
list.
that. You do
It's
that.
it's never going to happen, Cody.
Do that tonight. Do it tonight while we're finishing this podcast, and let me know what you come up with. I had a very good week in fantasy. I think it might have been my strongest week yet. But Cucho Hernandez, what the hell happened there? I thought I had this perfect team. I thought I had a bunch more points coming, one of my 2 strikers, and Cucho Hernandez just decided he wasn't going to play. That's actually not what happened. We actually have no idea what happened. Wilfred Nancy, he gave 2 words as an explanation for what happened there. It was just quote-unquote team policy is why he did not play at the weekend. And I actually just read that he is not playing tonight versus the Tigres in the Champions Cup either. So that's a very interesting situation there. One of the
Might be time to sell.
to Sporting, maybe. No, Cucho is very good. One of the hottest players in the league. I thought it was a winner for my fantasy. And no, nothing this week. But I did have a very good week. Thad, do you know the value of your team right now after 6 weeks?
No, but I know I didn't set the lineup the last 2 weeks.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, I know.
I'm getting better, and I'm getting better at this, and I'm having more fun each week. I'm telling you, this is actually fun, and the league is more fun.
Is your team the Red Bandits?
No, mine's Logan is Mayan Denbe.
What place are you in? I can't even find you.
I moved up a couple this week. I think I'm in 20th or 21st, something like that.
22nd, okay.
22nd.
Behind
it was a good
Stinky
week.
Pigs FC.
Yes.
My team name was very prophetic. I'll remember to set the line, or I'll remember to play for a couple of weeks, or however I phrased it. But yeah,
that was your team name.
Yeah.
Robert, what's your team?
Guys are putting so much pressure on me. I have to think about this. Got any suggestions?
You at least have to come up with a good name. No, he doesn't even have a team. So you asked him what his team name is. He doesn't have one.
But why?
Speaking of Cucho not playing in Champions Cup, Lionel Messi has been missing games. The day is rapidly approaching. The Arrowhead game versus Miami. They are going to be playing midweek versus Monterrey. It will be the second leg of the matchup versus Monterrey.
In Monterrey.
And it is in Monterrey. They are clear. It's the semifinal of that. If you're Miami and you're trying to win trophies, you're simply going to prioritize that as being 2 wins away from a trophy. You're going to prioritize that over a weekend game versus Sporting Kansas City, who's not even in your conference in regular play. So it looks more and more likely after all of this that we're not going to get to see Messi play at Arrowhead, Robert.
20 minutes we can cling to, right? Maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I've actually just been assuming the guy's not even going to be on the roster, but at this point I would be very happy if I could see him on the field for 20 minutes.
Cody, I mean, I know you're concerned about the city's development, so perhaps the way to get this stadium vote to go over the top to yes was we will guarantee Messi will play in the Arrowhead match if you vote yes.
You had to get political, didn't you? You had to mention the vote, and see, we can't even, because when everyone listens to this, the vote will be done, and we don't know the results yet. So
you have the power to edit, Cody.
We got the early results in. I liked the first results from the absentee ballots are nice, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna pass. Thad, the Current are on fire. No, wait. The Current is flowing. The Current is raging. There it is. The Current is raging right now.
They are wet.
Okay.
I liked mine better. Raging was better. They are scoring a lot of goals.
I was looking for a water thing, man.
Oh, and you went with wet? How creative was that? They're scoring a lot of goals. 3 big wins. They beat 3 of the top 5 teams from last season. What a
So
start.
the current are a tsunami. How about that?
There we go. That was better than just saying wet.
Probably, yeah. But yes, Current are playing well offensively. Defensively at home, they have not been the greatest.
They're giving up goals, but
yeah, first game was 5-4 win, then a 2-win win run on the road at San Diego, and then back against Angel City for a 4-2. But at one point it was 3-3 until VAR called it back from the
offsides.
Yep, for the Yeti cooler.
yeah, how hilarious is that?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I didn't know anything about it, and all of a sudden people are talking about, "Oh, did you see the Yeti after the?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
It
I don't
does
see that
seem
stuff
like
during
an
the game.
odd choice. What does it have to be the world's most expensive cooler in order to protect this stuff, or could it just be any cooler?
Sponsorship.
Oh, right.
Yes, sponsorship. They are all about sponsorship.
So what did a salesperson for MLS go, did they create this? Did they come up with this? I've got an ad placement for you, Yeti. It's a perfect
Well,
partnership.
first of all, it would be
made
the
in heaven.
NWSL, not MLS. But somebody along the line did make a sale, and you know what? I got a Yeti cup at this last game. They gave me a
Nice.
Yeti cup.
Oh, wow.
It was it was a memorial cup for having been at the first game. I thought that should have come at the first game, but anyway, I appreciated it. It was nice.
Do I get one too?
I don't know.
Doubt it.
Don't know.
Okay.
Don't know.
Doubt it. Thanks, Cody.
Well, you haven't been to either of the first 2, so why would you get one that was...
I was at the first one.
Oh, you were. Oh, yeah, you were in the press box. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you'll probably
Yeah.
get one.
He was in auxiliary press box number 2.
Yeah. The
official
limited
names of it.
visibility.
It's they're still working some things out. Got to shoot from the north end this time for I shot up from that end for a half. So they're working on things. But yeah, team is scoring a lot of goals. They got to work on some set piece defense. But as Vlaco said, if it was during the run of play, he would be much more concerned.
Interesting.
Okay.
Can we talk about how great is it Chowinga? I don't
Temwa.
know how to pronounce it.
Temwa Chowinga.
Dude, she's fun.
Yeah.
She's fast. She's powerful.
Yeah.
She's a lot of fun to watch.
Somebody mentioned in the presser, Vlaco, you've said Temwa is really fast, and he goes, "No, you don't hear me say that. I don't talk about her speed." He was almost like ticked off that they said that he said something that he didn't say, but
Well,
because
no,
he always talks about her skill.
Yeah, he respects
Her
her
ability.
game in so many other ways than just being a
Right.
speedster running around.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about Vargas and his speed. That is 98% of Vargas's game at this point.
Right.
Temwa, though, positioning, strength, how the touches on the ball. I mean, not that everything's perfect, but just all of that skill that she demonstrates. And she pairs really well with Bia. Can you tell me how to say that, David? Her last name? Sanarato?
Yeah.
Wow, he really
Zhao?
just left you out to hang.
Beatriz Zenerato Zhao. But Bia's also a lot of fun to watch. Like that
Yeah.
forward line is really exciting.
And if Dabinia was healthy, she would probably be out there on the wing because I think their midfield is doing really well with Vanessa DiBernardo there. The 18-year-old Claire Hutton playing the 6,
Yeah,
Lowe
man,
playing the 8.
They got some ballers. And you just said all of those names without even mentioning Hammy yet, my favorite.
She didn't even play last game.
I know, and they're still dominating.
And Pfeiffer.
Yeah, she didn't play this last game either. She played in the first two,
Yeah.
got the goal in the
Yeah.
first game. There's just a lot of talent across there. So they have a lot, they are not going to be a 1 or 2, 3 players scoring goals. It's going to be 6, 7 of them scoring goals and just who gets it that day.
That's great.
Now they just
I was
got
watching the game with my daughter, She's 18 months old, so she's not giving me a whole lot of give and take with the commentary, but she was just enthralled watching the ball go in the net over and over and over, and she was getting excited at all the right times.
Awesome.
Like every time, the current would start to break, like a counter or anything, she would kind of perk up and watch, and
that's good to hear.
It was cool.
She may be your star player at the future. Who knows?
She is a much better player at 18 months than her brothers were, and really that's all that matters in life, right? Is how good are you at a year and a half? She dominates the playground at preschool, or I guess her daycare.
It matters that you're better than your siblings.
Yeah, well,
and the younger kids are almost always better than the older kids at athletics because they have fought against the older one on the backyard playground.
Thad, you mentioned all of the attacking players and the midfielders. Isn't Ellie Wheeler, is this her first season?
Yeah, she was drafted.
Yeah, she's great too.
She crushed a couple players in this last game too.
I know. Yeah, she really did.
Sydney LaRue, man, that almost started a fight. That Lowe was in there having to break stuff up.
Oh, I actually didn't even realize that one was her. Yeah, Sydney LaRue got hammered on a play.
Yep, I was waiting for that one. I was actually worried that she might get a more serious card on that one than just a yellow.
She tweeted the next day that she was sore or had a stiff neck from that play, I think is what she said.
But she's fun. I mean, Izzy Rodriguez was back out on the left back this last game. The last couple games since Mace got injured in the first one. They just got to lock down the defense a little bit better, especially on set pieces.
And they will.
Yeah, you would think,
hopefully,
especially with youth back there. But no, they're a very exciting team. This bodes well. I'm excited for the season. What about the Comets? Playoff time, Thad?
Yes. Playing Utica FC.
Utica. I just love it. I love saying that that's a team or a city that has a professional sports team.
You should go out there.
Why do I know
pretty entertaining.
Is Utica a branch of Dunder Mifflin?
Yes.
Is that why I know Utica?
Yes.
Why else would I have ever heard of Utica? It's fun to say.
If you follow minor league hockey,
oh my
they've
God.
got
a minor
league hockey team.
Oh my God, I love
indoor soccer.
I want to go to
that's
this
where
place. There has to be a AAA or a AA team that plays there as well with some absurd the Utica Utes or something like that. There has to be.
There was the Utica Blue Sox from 1939 to 2001.
I'm sure
the Utica Asylums in 1900.
Okay, well, thank you for that history. I would like to talk about the Comets and the playoff run. Thad, tell us about it.
First game's at home on the 8th, and second game is in Utica on the 15th. And if there is a tie at that point, there will be a third game of 15 minutes. They used to call it a mini game, but I think they got offended at that. So interesting little tidbits, though, is the Utica coach, Everton, is also the U.S. national futsal team coach.
Oh, and therefore
they have a camp, a competition for qualifying to go to the World Cup or whatever they call it for futsal, and that is taking place during the time of that second game.
Oh,
and he had to call up himself and a couple of his own players to take away from his indoor team.
Wow.
He also, I'm pretty sure, tried to call up Zach Reggett from the Comets, and I'm thinking Zach said, I'm staying here.
Wait, he's not going to go play in the World Cup?
Well, not in this qualifying round, at least. He was not on the list that came out today.
Focused on bringing trophies, winning silverware with Kansas City. I like it.
So, that would have been, without Zach, that would have been very difficult to advance, but they would be missing a couple players too. So there's still a reasonable chance they would have been able to advance. Next round goes to the winner between Monterey and Milwaukee.
So you said the first one is at home. What day?
The 8th.
On the 8th.
I believe it's 6 or 6:30.
I'm telling
Monday.
you, if we have listeners, you're soccer people, go to a Comets game. Go check out the Blue Turf. They are so much fun. Zach Reget is worth the price of admission alone. So
Yeah, and he's been on fire lately. Last time he left to go to futsal camp, it took him a little while to get back in the groove when he got back. But when he got in the groove, man, he's been killing it.
So do we get past Utica?
yeah, what's your prediction?
I think they do. Utica is kind of now their big rivals. They get past Utica, they have to play the winner of Monterey and Milwaukee, and that's almost certainly going to be Monterey because Monterey is a way better team. They are technically 24-0, although 3 of them were overtime wins, so it's not a
Wow.
perfect season.
Oh yeah. I
What
saw
about
that.
Stamford? Do we ever have to play Stamford?
Is that a Dunder Mifflin reference?
Yeah.
I don't think
Do
Thad
we-
understood that, but I
Do we
got it.
play FC Scranton FC?
Oh man.
Okay, since we are talking about somewhat obscure teams, this is the second round of the U.S. Open Cup, and since MLS did everything they could to kill it, I want to do everything I can to promote it. So you can
Yes.
watch them on like the YouTubes, I think. But you get such great matchups like the Richmond Kickers versus the Maryland Bobcats,
Nice.
Lubbock Matadors versus Foro SC.
The Matadors. I like that.
Richmond Kickers
Central
is a historic
Valley-
team, man.
They are.
Yes.
But the Maryland Bobcats,
It could have been
Yeah.
a U9 team for all I knew.
Central Valley Fuego FC versus El Farolito SC.
Roger,
So
What do you
mean,
guys? What do
this
you
is
guys really
incredible.
think of Sasha Question and Roger Espinosa sign up for the Menace and playing for them for the Open Cup?
I think it's cool, and I think it's in the same vein of how David introduced this. I think it's
Yeah, I think so.
They see the hate on it or the trouble with the tournament itself, and they wanted to make it more fun, bring some more eyes to it, help one of the lower league teams. I think it's really cool. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Is Sasha signed with them?
Yeah.
He was
He's gonna
before
tear a
Roger.
hamstring.
Sasha
He
was
fully missed
first, and then who? It's Sasha, Roger, and someone else. I think. I was thinking it was somebody else, maybe not.
That's amazing.
But
He's-
I think it's really cool.
He hasn't played in years.
No, he's been sitting on the couch of Apple TV, being a mouthpiece for the league,
Looking dapper. Yeah.
showing those ankles. No,
So
he's pretty good at that. Sasha, he's a smart guy. Actually, he's one of the better ones, or at least at the take. I don't know about how good of everyone is at doing the show, but I like his takes.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But everybody should go check out the Open Cup. Keep the Open Cup alive. The Open Cup is fun.
Since you're looking, do you know when Des Moines plays?
Yes. They play tomorrow, I believe.
We should promote that and watch it.
Can we even? That was my next question. Are how many of these games are even visible?
I think
you're
most of
there?
them.
Okay.
So if you go to MLSsoccer.com, that's where most of the streams are.
Oh, okay. Good. Good. I was
And it
thinking,
looks like
I thought I read they weren't going to do that.
Apotheos FC versus Chattanooga Red Wolves SC is tomorrow.
Was that a Greek
Ventura
team?
County FC versus Irvine Zeta FC. Huge Zeta guy.
Where is
you know,
Apotheos?
One. What a great question. Thank you for asking.
Apotheos. That sounds like
They
it's
are
Greek. Are they in Astoria,
Atlanta.
New York? Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Okay.
The Spokane Velocity. But yeah, Union Omaha and Des Moines Menace. And I will say the Union, when Sporting played Union Omaha, that was a really great fan base.
We like those guys.
Those guys were great. They were so much fun. A lot of crossover with Sporting KC. Same thing with Des Moines. So, that's going to be just fun and worth checking out.
We did a cross pod with a podcast for them, didn't we?
And then did a Scarf
times.
Exchange
And
at the stadium.
And MLS is trying to take that cup away from us. How dare they?
Damn them.
You guys think this vote's going to pass?
No comment.
Did you look at my comment?
With 82% of precincts
Oh
reporting,
my God.
no is up by 19,000 votes, 58-42,
Oh,
with
shit.
18% of the vote left to count.
Yep.
No. So wait a minute. You know, one of those issues that people keep bringing up. What if they go to Johnson County? What if they go out to the Legends? I'm like, so you can still drive to see the games. It's win-win. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that scenario doesn't necessarily scare me that much. I don't want the Chiefs to leave Jackson. I would like the Chiefs to stay. And David, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not necessarily believing that. I'm not calling it that. I'm calling their bluff. I just think this has been objectively poor business and horribly done on both of their parts. And I would like to see that, this very important future growth of our city be taken more seriously and inspire more confidence and better planned. So if this passes, if this doesn't pass, then good. And I hope that they work with the city and the people and we figure out a better way to do this. Go to the East Village, Royals.
Are you guys following? I'm looking at all the election results from tonight. Lone Jack Alderman, Ward 1, is currently winning. This one guy's winning with 100% of the vote. 2-0.
2-0.
2-0.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut.
What a bloodbath.
Thad, say something prophetic.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Hike.
Haiku.
Unsuspecting pod, Thad waiting with bated breath, sets the perfect trap.
The other side don't seem so tough, and 3 own goals ain't all that rough. Our skipper has just been sent off. Some punters strong have all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking.